Late in the night of January 27, 2026, reports emerged from Beijing of sustained gunfire echoing through the capital streets. Unverified claims suggested that an alliance opposed to Xi, formed by forces loyal to recently detained Central Military Commission Vice Chairman Zhang Youxia, had clashed with elements of the Presidential Guard believed to be supporting Xi Jinping. Multiple casualties were reportedly sustained on both sides during the exchange. But this is not just another purge. This is different. This time, the target was Zhang Youxia, a man who grew up in the same revolutionary compound as Xi Jinping, a princeling general whose father fought alongside Xi's father in the founding of the People's Republic, a man who until just weeks ago was considered Xi's most trusted military pillar. What pushed their relationship to the breaking point? Why are military units reportedly moving toward Beijing? And most mysteriously, why has the Chinese military remained completely silent in the face of what should be a routine anti-corruption announcement? Tonight, we're going to piece together what's really happening in Beijing. And I warn you, what you're about to hear suggests that China has entered one of the most dangerous political moments since the Cultural Revolution. According to overseas political commentator Kai Xia, a former professor at the Central Party School now living in the United States, tensions between Xi Jinping and Zhang Youxia had been building for over 3 years, but the breaking point came approximately 1 month before Zhang Youxia's arrest. Kai Xia said in a January 26 post that about a month earlier, Zhang Youxia confronted and threatened Xi Jinping face-to-face. That allegation sounds shocking, and its authenticity cannot be verified. The scene was deeply impactful, and it foreshadowed Zhang Youxia's eventual arrest. According to this account, Zhang unexpectedly clashed with Xi in a small private setting, likely a Politburo Standing Committee meeting or a restricted Central Military Commission session. The confrontation was reportedly unprecedented in its directness. Zhang allegedly accused Xi of continuously purging the military, and he questioned where Xi was leading the party and the country. He said the military's image had been severely damaged, that soldiers no longer earned societal respect, and that their basic dignity had been lost. He added that this was an unprecedented self-destruction since the founding of the Communist Party. But what is most shocking is how the confrontation allegedly ended. According to the account, Zhang Youxia directly threatened Xi Jinping. He said the words, "If I do not let you leave here today, is that a coup?" Let that sink in for a moment. A Central Military Commission vice chairman threatening the chairman of the Central Military Commission, the supreme commander of China's armed forces, with physical detention would, if true, represent not just insubordination, but an open challenge to Xi's authority at the highest level of military command. Now, we must be clear, this account cannot be independently verified. First, the timing. This alleged confrontation occurred in late December 2025, during a period when Xi was reportedly pushing hard for the military to meet his 2027 combat readiness deadline for Taiwan operations. Zhang Youxia, an experienced combat general from the 1979 Sino-Vietnamese War, had long advocated for a more cautious approach, arguing the PLA would not be ready until 2035. Second, the context. By late 2025, nearly every other member of the Central Military Commission had already been purged. Former Defense Minister Li Shangfu was arrested. Vice Chairman He Weidong was arrested. Political Work Department Director Miao Hua was arrested. Zhang Youxia was one of the last remaining original members from the 20th Party Congress. Third, the source. Kai Xia is not a random internet commentator. She is a former professor at the Central Party School, the elite institution that trains high-ranking party officials. She has connections to retired party elders who would have knowledge of internal dynamics. If Zhang Youxia did indeed threaten Xi in late December, then what followed reads like a carefully orchestrated revenge operation. Two overseas independent commentators, Li Jing and Jiang Weiping, whose accounts closely resemble each other, have described the alleged operation as resembling a banquet trap, bypassing the party's normal disciplinary authorities entirely. According to these accounts, the key events took place on January 19, 2026. Li Jing reported that at approximately 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Kai Chi, secretary of the Central Secretariat, called Liu Zhenli on the pretext of discussing personnel and military matters and requested that he come to the general office of the Central Committee. Liu reportedly arrived with only a confidential secretary and a guard. After his guard was directed to a waiting room, Liu entered an office where, according to the account, Wang Xiaohong, head of the Central Guard Bureau, led dozens of security personnel in detaining him. Jiang Weiping provided a similar story, adding that Liu's guard was escorted to a separate room, disarmed and detained. Liu and his secretary were then allegedly taken into custody upon entering the office. The close alignment in timing, individuals, and methods between the two accounts was cited by commentators as lending them credibility. But the real drama came next. The reports then turned to the alleged detention of Zhang Youxia himself. According to these claims, at around 5 in the evening that day, Xi Jinping invited Zhang to a private dinner at the Great Hall of the People, and Xi's brother also attended. Zhang reportedly arrived with family members and his security staff, while his guards were directed to dine elsewhere. During the dinner, Kai Chi reportedly coordinated with the General Office, the Central Guard Bureau, and Secretarial Services to detain Zhang's secretaries. After that, Zhang himself was taken to a designated location. Jiang Weiping's account added a dramatic element. He claimed that Xi addressed Zhang as elder brother and said that having come to this point, there are some things I must do. Zhang, described as isolated, was said to have been taken into custody without resistance. He was reportedly moved out of Beijing while Liu Zhenli remained in the capital. The episode was likened to a political banquet trap, evoking historical analogies of palace intrigues. The imagery is powerful. Two men who grew up together, whose families fought together to establish the People's Republic, are now locked in a life or death struggle. Now, there are several reasons to be skeptical of these accounts. The level of detail seems almost cinematic. The dialogue attributed to Xi Jinping sounds like it comes from a historical drama rather than a real political event. The sources, while connected to dissident networks, are known for sometimes publishing unverified information. But here is what we know for certain. On January 24, 2026, the Chinese Ministry of Defense officially announced that Zhang Youxia and Liu Zhenli were under investigation. That is confirmed. The question is how they were detained and why. What happened next may be the most revealing part of this entire affair. It is not what was said, it is what was not said. The Ministry of Defense published its statement on January 24, 2026. The announcement has been public for more than 4 days. In those 4 days, not a single military region or branch in China has publicly voiced support for the Central Military Commission action. Not one single public statement of support. This is extraordinarily unusual. In fact, it is unprecedented in the Xi Jinping era. Compare this to previous high-profile purges. In 2015, when Central Military Commission Vice Chairman Xu Kaihu and Guo Baxiong were announced as fallen, military districts, the 4 general headquarters, and 7 major military regions immediately expressed support for the central decision. Official media reported extensively. There were televised meetings. Statements of loyalty filled state media. In 2017, when Sun Jingkai was purged, Chongqing Party organizations rushed to condemn him and pledge loyalty to Xi. In 2023, when Li Shangfu was removed as defense minister, there were official statements, editorial pieces in the People's Liberation Army Daily, and public displays of unity. But with Zhang Youxia, there has been silence. As of January 29, 2026, the official lists of Politburo members and Central Military Commission members still include Zhang Youxia and Liu Zhenli. Their names have not been removed. Their past news remains on official websites. Kaixia said that Xi Jinping's removal of Zhang Youxia and Liu Zhenli completely violates party regulations and has no legitimacy within the Communist Party. Aside from the Ministry of Defense official statement and an editorial in the People's Liberation Army Daily, the usual levels of public support for the party leadership's decision have not appeared. On the contrary, there is widespread silence within the party and the military. After 10 years of Xi Jinping's oppressive rule, this silence itself is a form of statement. Think about what this means. In a system where loyalty signaling is everything, where officials rush to demonstrate their allegiance at every opportunity, where silence can be career suicide, the entire military apparatus is staying silent. This isn't accidental. This is coordinated passive resistance. Multiple sources close to the People's Liberation Army have reported that after the investigations into Zhang Youxia and Liu Zhenli were announced, many documents issued by the Central Military Commission to various military regions and army groups were simply ignored. Orders within the military are stagnating. According to former Inner Mongolia official Du Wen, although Zhang Youxia and Liu Zhenli have been officially announced as fallen, their positions are still listed on Xinhua News and on the State Council websites. This is a clear sign of the Chinese Communist Party's complete disorder. The military silence speaks volumes. It suggests that Zhang Youxia maintained far more loyalty and respect within the ranks than Xi Jinping may have realized. It suggests that the purge has crossed a line that many officers consider illegitimate, and it suggests that the chain of command, so critical to military effectiveness, may be fracturing. But the silence is not the only strange thing happening. There are troop movements. On January 27th, reports claimed that units said to support Zhang Youxia were advancing towards central Beijing. Social media accounts allege that main elements of several group armies had arrived in or around Beijing. The 82nd Group Army is based in Baoding, Hebei Province. The 83rd Group Army is based in Xinjiang, Henan Province. The 79th Group Army is based in Xinyang, Liaoning Province. The 80th Group Army is based in Weifang, Shandong Province. These forces were said to have formed an alliance opposed to Xi and established a joint command center facing off against units described as loyal to Xi Jinping in the Beijing area. Now, let us be absolutely clear, these reports are unverified. We have not seen independent confirmation of mass troop movements from satellite imagery or Western intelligence sources. The specific unit numbers and locations could be fabricated or exaggerated. But we do have some corroborating evidence that something unusual is happening. On January 27th, a video uploaded to Douyin showed groups of soldiers in camouflage uniforms carrying firearms marching through the city of Suzhou, an important stronghold in the Eastern Theater Command. As a strategic location connecting East China and the Beijing-Tianjin region, Suzhou is just a few hundred kilometers from Beijing. Many online observers speculated about broader political implications. The video remained online for up to 2 hours. Under China's normally strict media controls, military movements are usually scrubbed from social media within minutes. The fact that this video circulated for hours has led some to claim it signals a breakdown in the Chinese Communist Party's censorship system. Meanwhile, a video from Beijing's Tongzhou district quickly spread online, showing frequent sightings of military vehicles and soldiers in the area, with timestamps indicating it was filmed the same day. In Tianjin, a similar scene unfolded from January 26 to January 27th, with large numbers of military vehicles spotted in the city. Observers reported that the 82nd Group Army stationed in Baoding, Hebei, including special forces, had been deployed to Beijing. Even more mysteriously, major highways around Beijing were suddenly blocked. Roads including Jinghe, Jingtang, Jingxin, Jingtai, and the G95 capital. Area Loop Expressway were closed without any official announcement. Feedback from drivers indicated that large screens on highways instructed vehicles to leave, and navigation and speed alerts vanished. One driver said no one can enter Beijing now. This type of highway blockade is almost unheard of in peacetime China, outside of major party congresses or state visits by foreign leaders. Around Tiananmen Square, security was reportedly tightened, with police cars patrolling the streets in a tense and oppressive atmosphere. Within the Fifth Ring Road, residents were reportedly banned from leaving their neighborhoods. Former Chinese Ministry of Foreign Affairs official Han Lianqiao posted a photo showing that on Chang'an Avenue in Beijing, military, police, and security agencies were jointly on duty. The atmosphere was tense and oppressive. On January 29th, more videos surfaced showing unusual military movements. One user remarked that self-propelled artillery was on the streets, asking if this was meant to intimidate someone. Another user uploaded a video stating that it was the first time they had seen an armored vehicle convoy so close on the highway. But here's where things get even stranger. Dissident activist Zhang Youxia has received startling new information. He stated on January 28 that Zhang Youxia's case is far from over. Both sides are arguing over the legitimacy of his arrest. Zhang Youxia's family and some subordinates have publicly expressed dissatisfaction and called for corrections. For the first time, Xi Jinping's absolute authority is being challenged. According to Zhang Youxia's sources, some military units allegedly deployed to Beijing were not there to support Xi Jinping's purge. They were there to pressure authorities for Zhang Youxia's release. On January 27th, Zhang further claimed that another princeling general had publicly opposed Zhang Youxia's detention, arguing that it violated long-standing informal norms among elite families. Now, who is this general? Zhang has not named him publicly, but speculation is focused on several possibilities. Some suggest it could be Liu Yuan, son of former Chinese President Liu Shaoqi. Liu Yuan is 74 years old and a key figure within the princeling faction. Others speculate it might be a currently serving theater command leader who has personal ties to Zhang Youxia through their father's revolutionary-era connections. Regardless of the identity, the implication is clear. There are elements within the military establishment who view Zhang Youxia's arrest as a red line that should not have been crossed. Zhang Youxia is the son of Revolutionary-era General Zhang Zongxun, who fought alongside Xi Jinping's father in the founding battles of the People's Republic. These families have intermarried, socialized together, and formed a protective network for generations. Xi Jinping arresting Zhang Youxia is not just a political purge. It is breaking an implicit pact within China's red aristocracy. Zhang Youxia bluntly stated that the power struggle between Xi Jinping and Zhang Youxia has become the most evenly matched and dangerous internal battle within the Communist Party since its founding. This time it is knife fights. Both sides will fight to the death, using every trick in the book. This is a dangerous escalation. But perhaps the most dangerous development for Xi Jinping is not happening at the elite level. It is happening at the grassroots level of the military. An insider in the Chinese Communist Party's military and political system stated that the Zhang Youxia incident has directly undermined the military's trust in top leadership decisions. After the announcement, the military's response has been unusually intense. Many soldiers are privately questioning why two long-respected senior generals were detained and investigated without any clear evidence being made public. Here is the most shocking detail. This discontent has spilled over into public ridicule. Some lower-ranking military personnel have started referring to Xi Jinping as BAOZE, which means steamed buns. That nickname has caused widespread laughter in military circles. The term carries strong sarcasm in the People's Liberation Army, signifying that the highest commander's authority is no longer recognized. Think about that for a moment. In the People's Liberation Army, where discipline is absolute and where loyalty to the party and the chairman is drilled into every soldier from day one, enlisted personnel are now openly mocking Xi Jinping. In the Eastern Theater Command, a military officer's family member confirmed that local grassroots troops have privately started calling Xi Baozi. The officer's family emphasized that once the highest commander's orders are no longer seen as mandatory, the foundation for war mobilization disappears. If war mobilization were to be initiated, no one would fight for Xi Jinping. This is not mere grumbling. This is a clear signal of passive resistance, reflecting deep fractures within the military's morale. So where does this leave us? Let us be clear about what we know and what we do not know. What we know for certain is that Zhang Youxia and Liu Jinli are officially under investigation. The Chinese military has not issued the usual statements of support. Videos of military movements have appeared on social media. Highway closures around Beijing have been reported by multiple sources. There is unusual tension in the capital. What we do not know for certain is the exact circumstances of Zhang Youxia's detention. Whether there was a direct confrontation between Zhang Youxia and Xi Jinping, whether troop movements represent an organized resistance or routine deployments. The ultimate outcome of this power struggle remains unknown. But here is what we can say. Something unprecedented is happening in Chinese politics. The silence from the military is real. The reports of passive resistance from lower ranks align with what we would expect if the PLA's command structure is fracturing. The historical parallels to palace coups, to the Lin Biao incident of 1971, to the chaos of the Cultural Revolution, are not accidental. Zhang Youxia was once the pillar of Xi Jinping's military power. He was the princeling general who gave Xi Jinping legitimacy within the revolutionary families. But now he has become the biggest threat to Xi Jinping's rule. His arrest may mark the moment when Xi Jinping's consolidation of power crossed a line from which there is no return. Some observers have called this the ammunition depot filled with explosives, with everyone holding torches, waiting to see who will light the fuse. Whether this ends in a negotiated resolution, a complete purge of Zhang Youxia's network, or something far more dramatic, one thing is dangerously certain. China has entered one of the most dangerous and unpredictable periods in its modern history. The silence from Beijing's military leadership speaks louder than any official statement could. In that silence, we may be witnessing the beginning of the end of Xi Jinping's absolute authority, or the prelude to an even more ruthless consolidation of power. Only time will tell. But the gunshots that echoed through Beijing on the night of January 27th may one day be remembered as the first shots of a conflict that reshaped China's political future.